Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you clicked on this and you watched my previous video, it means that you did the math that I illustrated in my tutorials, and you found out that you have a 1-year cycle number. And I want to talk about this in two different ways. I'm going to start out with actually explaining my own experience with the numbers, and then go into a broader perspective as to what you might be experiencing in this year. And I will actually have a lot to say for the 1 year, because I just left my 1 year. 2017 was that transition for me. It's now 2018 and I moved on to 2. But after all is said and done, I have a lot to say about it, so lucky you. So yeah, let's get started. So the 1 year is all about initiations and new beginnings. You are literally setting something in motion for the next 9 years. Think about a 9-year cycle as one chunk, and that first step is setting the stage for that whole chunk. So it's a very powerful, very important year to be in. Something to always take into consideration when you're looking at your number is the prior year to that, and for the one that was 9. That was a year of cleaning things out to get ready for the next cycle and tying up loose ends. And so if anything was left over from that year, you will deal with it in this year in order to spark the new change that needs to occur, whatever that may be in your life. This is the year of the magician, and in Tarot, the magician channels power or energy of the universe and directs it into this physical plane. It's extremely powerful. You can literally ask for anything. It is a year of manifestation. And as I said before, whatever course that you choose, whatever thing in your life that you put energy into, that is what you're initiating for the next 9 years. And of course, 9 years is a long time. So that thing may transform over and over again, as it should. You know, change is the only constant throughout those 9 years. That first step is pivotal moment. It's extremely important, and it will demand a lot of your participation, a lot of your conscious energy. It cannot be a passive year for you. Yeah, so it's exciting. It's about bringing out something out of nothing. And you can wish, you can ask for anything that you want, whatever that you were displeased in the past few years, you want to change. This is your opportunity. So, don't think of it as such, don't be fear-based. Don't be scared at the task at hand. Be excited, because now you can actually turn things around in the direction that you want them to go in. Now, my personal affirmation for starting out my 1 year, was I'm ready for everything to work out better than expected. Because I could feel the new energies of the 1 coming into my life. You can feel very much that transition, that ending and new beginning, and I knew that drastic change needed to occur, but I did not have hope for that. I didn't think that it could happen. And so my way of handling that doubt and that lack of hope was through this affirmation. Was I'm acknowledging that this is how I feel, and I can't imagine anything being any differently. I can't imagine everything working out in the end, but I'm ready to not carry that anymore. I'm ready to move on from that. And so whatever change that is meant to take place in my life can. I'm just basically making a space for it. I'm like, I don't know what it looks like yet, but I'm gonna make this little divot here, and whatever's supposed to come in can come in now. So That affirmation was extremely helpful for me. And I had a very textbook, I could say, 1 year. I had lots of drastic changes. In 2016, I had graduated college. That was my my year of ending. And that really opened things up with a huge question mark, and there was a lot of other things going on in my life, and I was wondering, how am I going to make a difference here? How am I going to start off anew in this direction that I want to go in? What ended up happening is I moved from New York to California, where I've always wanted to live, without anything, just some savings. I had no job. I don't know anyone here. All I had was a bus pass from when I went to college here for a year on exchange. So yeah, I ended up moving to a new location, getting a temporary job while I figure things out. Still in this phase, and then in between then, lots of changes happened. And I'm going to get into that very soon, as to what can happen when you make all these major life decisions. What's the domino effect of that, and what you might face. I think of the first year of the cycle a lot like the first day of school. You're just extremely enthusiastic and motivated, and you have it all planned out. You have everything regimented under your control. You cling to your planner or your agenda book, and everything is structured and everything has a place. And you want to be the very best. You want to do the best that you possibly can. You want to come out with straight A's. And that's like the first day or the first week of school. Of course, things change as the year goes on. There's quite a process that you endure, but that's later in my numerology series. We'll get to that. But yeah, so this was very much how it was like for me, and I actually became almost addicted to to-do lists, and I realized very quickly that this was not a balanced way to be. This was not going to help me. So what I ended up doing was make an agenda list and follow each point on that list in a way that structured my day, but not making a to-do list, like a list of tasks. Everything was just, this is how, this is the energy that I want to create for the day. This is my intention, and however it's meant to, come out for this day or this week or this month, let it flow. So that was much more balanced, and I highly recommend that. You might have a type A personality, so that might help you throughout your life. But yeah, okay, let's move on to the next thing. So that was my own personal experience. I'm now going to move on into the broader perspective, what I have found in my studies, books that I've read, articles that I've read online, and also just talking to people, what I understand of the numbers through people. But before I go into that, I just want to say that this is the book that I use for life cycles, as the name of the book, Your Emotional Journey to Freedom and Happiness. And this is written by Christine Delory, I think is how you pronounce her name. And it's the best thing, it's the best material I've ever read on this subject. She has a website, and a lot of what's in this book is on her website, but it doesn't include everything. And for the longest time, I was just using her website, and then finally was like, I need to buy the book. So if you want to seriously study life cycles, I recommend this book. And I will try to remember to leave a description below, so you can check it out for yourself. But I want to mention that because I have a few quotes that I took from that book that I really think outline my understanding of the 1-year cycle. The first one is, "The study of change is the study of survival," by Edward T. Hall. And the second is, not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced. I just recorded an 8-minute segment where I explained the rest of this video and wrapped it up, and the audio was not on. So, here we go again. Part 2. Basically, what I wanted to say in this part is that the 1-year cycle requires that we accept and acknowledge what the book calls real and complete change. Now, this acceptance and this acknowledgement requires a couple of things. One, it requires your courage, and 2, it requires faith. Because if you're going to be making drastic changes, if you're going to, put yourself in these positions, it's going to require faith in yourself that you're making the right decisions. And in, the first part of this video, I explained that in my own personal experience with this year, there was a lot that took place, after I made these decisions, when I changed my location and everything, essentially. It was a very hectic time. It was a very bumpy road to be on. But the thing is that you need to be able to discern that that doesn't make your decision a mistake, because it's not a straight path. It's a very usually complicated path that we have to take in order to fulfill our destinies, whatever they are. If everything is going absolutely perfectly and absolutely smoothly in your life, you're probably doing something wrong. Like, that's creepy. It's not meant to be that way in this reality. It's very dynamic. There's lots of stuff going on. We didn't come here to have an easy time, okay? Because there's no learning in that. So in order to have faith in yourself, you need to be able to understand that these, the repercussions of your decision, the things that make it difficult, are not mistakes. They are a learning experience. And that will give you the ability, the courage, and the faith in yourself that, yes, I am making the right decision because something needs to happen. You may not know what needs to happen, but you know that something needs to happen, and you need to take the first step in order for real change to occur. On a side note, I just also want to provide a specific example of a life path, a particular life path, and this year number. I don't want to do that a lot, but if you watched my previous video, not actually, it was one before that, my first video, Introduction to Numerology, I went into the compatibility of numbers and what each year cycle number could mean for you, depending on what your life path number is. That's essentially, the reason why I introduced compatibility right in the beginning, so that you could get just a very, basic sense of, how challenging or how natural the year would feel to you. And so the specific example that comes into my mind for the year number of 1 is the 4 life path, because the 4 life path is like the home body of all the numbers. And so while it's very likely that a 4 will want change in their life, especially if they're being pushed into this one energy, it might be very hard for them compared to everyone else. It might be, in fact, the hardest for them, depending on what that change is. If it regards, your home life, your family, that to a 4 is the hardest change. That is, their foundational values right there. And so I just want to acknowledge that too. And for everything that I say in this video, this applies to you. Just listen to what I have to say. And if you are a 4 life path, let me know. Let me know if you're going through this 1 year cycle now and what it's like for you. What's also worth noting about this year is that there's a very good chance that you, by some divine intervention, will be given the resources, whatever they are. You'll be given just enough, just what you need in order to make things happen. I had a friend randomly give me like hundreds of dollars for my birthday, which was right at the time that I had left New York, and it was completely unexpected, and I don't know what I would have done without that, because looking back and seeing the timetables of how everything occurred, I would have been in a really bad place without that money. So what I'm trying to say is that if you open yourself up to finally, trying to navigate a path for yourself with very good intentions, you will be given what you need in one way or another. You may not be given, excess, like abundance, where you have more than what you need, but you'll be given just enough in order to, at least just enough in order to complete what you're meant to do in this life. You're going to learn a lot about yourself because of all these changes that are happening. You're going to learn about how you deal with change, how you deal with stress, how you deal with whatever obstacles or whatever, and anything that comes up in your life. How do you handle that? You're going to learn a lot about what you're okay with and what you're not okay with, and what you'll want for the next following 8 years in your life. What you want to establish afterwards. After your first steps, and you come out of that, you say, okay, I actually know a lot about myself now, and I don't feel like dealing with this, and I'm okay with that. So, just, it's all about, what you feel like you really want to create in your life. What environment do you want to be in for the next 8 years following? So sometimes, depending on where you are in your life and what circumstances that you've been put into, this, process of learning about yourself can translate into needing to let a lot of people go in your life. So this might be an enhancement of some relationships, but shedding of others. And it could be a friendship, it could be a family member, it could be your coworkers, it could be your peers, anyone at all. But if there are people that are standing in your way, you should want and need. You need to let these people go in order for you to fulfill your destiny. I just took out a specific quote from the book. It says, "If you are around people who disapprove of you and your plans, or those who are determined to exert control over you, you will need to break free from those chains." And so that is one area in your life where you might realize, I'm not okay with this anymore. I'm not okay with being treated like this by these people. I'm not okay, with my friends not acknowledging this part of myself, or this, this person that I've become. They're, people kind of like to deny others. That sounds kind of strange, but I've noticed it. If if you're around someone who's different than you, then they tend to pick and choose what they want to see. But that's not like a good relationship, that's not a good friendship, that's not a good anything, and so, whatever you're encountering in this year, if it's something that you've been dealing with for a long time, and it's standing in the way of change happening, it's time to let these things go. The book also says, and I took this out, you must learn that all is attainable if you don't depend on anyone else for your happiness and success. And I've picked these things out because I just completely agree with it. And honestly, that last line is just good life advice, period. If you are depending on something external, like a person, to provide you with like a status, self-confidence and happiness, that's not good. You need to drop that. The only thing that can make you happy and successful in your life is yourself. So I think that's all I have to say for the 1 year for now. please leave any thoughts or questions in the comments section. If I had to sum up this year, I would say that it's a gift. Out of all the years in the cycle, I see the 1 year as a gift, because if there was anything in your life that you did not like up to this point, it's your chance to fix it. Heck, it might be your entire life. You might be in shambles. Whenever you're confronted with the 1 year, it is your time to set yourself off on a completely new course. And it's a gift, and it's very exciting, and it's a beautiful time. So, thank you all so much for watching. I can't wait to make the next video, which will be the 2. And I hope you're all having a lovely January, and I will see you very soon.